gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Oh, and may the Lord bless you and keep make his face shine upon you and be gracious. May the Lord turn his face toward and give you peace. And give you peace. We sing amen, amen,
Thank you, James, and members of the student worship teams. What a blessing. Thanks so much. And what a way to begin our faculty staff kickoff. Good morning, APU community. Thanks for joining us as we come together virtually. This has been one of those years that few of us could have imagined. It has been incredibly challenging to continue to operate as an institution of higher education, really striving to balance community care, fiscal responsibility, and a deep commitment to our students, faculty, and staff. But APU has done that. And I'm here to first of all say thank you so much, how grateful we are for your resiliency, for your capacity, and for your commitment to the value proposition of an APU education. Our challenge, as you know, through the last several months has truly been to balance the care, the health, and the safety of all in the APU community with the challenges that COVID-19 has brought, the challenges of equity and inclusion, and just the financial pressures that brings for us as an institution. But APU has successfully navigated that. We navigated it together. We navigated it together with wisdom and strategy and collaboration. And I think that is the hallmark of who APU is today and who we'll be going into this next year. We successfully navigated this past spring, and we're ready to successfully navigate the fall 2020 semester. Remember, what are the principles that have guided us through this year so far, and what are we committed to doing as we go forward with similar challenges to balancing community care and the fiscal challenges of this pandemic and the challenges to give a quality higher education. So those principles, let me reiterate what those are. First and foremost, we are committed to Christ-centered academic excellence. We know that APU provides that experience for our students because our faculty are so engaged with them. We have really invested this semester in the kind of technology that will continue to allow our faculty to touch our students in ways through remote learning that really does continue to help them learn well, to touch them as scholars, and to help them grow spiritually as individuals and Christian scholars. We also are committed to ensuring that the health, safety, and wellness of our community continues. We have truly invested in the Student Health Center with wonderful donors helping to sponsor, through $1.2 million, our COVID testing and monitoring center run by the Student Health Center. That has been a strong commitment to balancing our care for the APU community as we move through the COVID-19 pandemic. And then that last commitment, which is truly student engagement, through continuing with our Student Affairs Division to touch our students, to continue to provide true spiritual integration, spiritual formation, and to assist them as they study in very challenging and uncertain circumstances. So we're grateful for that combination and balance that the whole AP community has come together and brought together. So I want to just emphasize how grateful I am that that value proposition of APU, educating Christian scholars and moving them into a space of great uncertainty, has characterized us through this year, and I am confident that we will continue to do that this year. And through the next half hour, as we share with you the welcome back to our faculty and staff kickoff, I want to share the stage with a number of our colleagues who have been essential in moving us forward. As you know, several weeks ago, I had the pleasure of introducing to you our new provost, Dr. Rukshan Fernando. Rukshan loves APU. He loves it deeply. He knows our campus, and he's a committed believer who wants to see Christ honored in all that we do. He will bring to this position that love of APU and that vision for where APU should go academically. He has stood the test in the crucible of challenges. He accepted graciously in 2019 the challenge of being interim provost. So I want to introduce to you Rukshan Fernando, who will share with you some thoughts from his perspective as provost, and then as we share from faculty senate and staff council, celebrating where we've come and where we hope to go this fall.
Thank you, Dr. Ferguson, for those kind, warm remarks of welcome. And first of all, I want to greet everybody at APU to the beginning of another year. Welcome. So excited to be your provost, so excited to engage with you this year, a year despite challenges, a year that has incredible opportunities for us as an institution. First of all, I want to thank Paul for his commitment, his dedication, his engagement as president, but also his commitment and support to me. And one of the things I'm really excited about working with Paul Ferguson is his long-time history in higher education, his ability to manage difficult times, difficult crises that we are facing right now, and also, as the provost, his love for academic excellence as a scholar, as a researcher, as an instructor, as a dean, as a provost, as a person that's committed to the scholarship of teaching and research. He understands what it means to build an institution like APU to be a place of Christ-centered academic excellence. I also want to just say a few words of thanks to my colleagues that serve on the President's Cabinet. One of the things that I think that a crisis will test is the cohesion, the development, and the maturity of a team. And one of the things that I've been extremely excited to see, that in the midst of a COVID-19, in the midst of a pandemic, that team has worked well together, has worked as servant leaders together, and has been institutionally minded first. And I think that's something that's very promising as we look at the year 2020 to 2021. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is some of my thoughts and vision for academics at APU. And one of the things that Dr. Ferguson meant was, and talked about, was one of our core principles is Christ-centered academic excellence. But I wanted to add to that vision as to what we are looking to do this year and in the coming years as we think about the APU strategic plan, a plan of renewal. So, as some of you may know, I speak a different language. I'm from two countries. I'm from the United States, but I'm also from the country of Sri Lanka. And there's a phrase in my language that's called Samaja Sevaya. And when you sort of translate that directly, what that means is to be a repairer of the breach. And as APU employees, whether it be faculty members or staff members, as we engage in the life and work of this institution, as we engage our students, as we engage the larger community, whatever our role is, whether it be a faculty member in the biology department or it would be a program coordinator in the nursing program, we attempt to be an institution that repairs the breach. And so what does that look like? That means that how are we training a nurse to be a repairer of the breach? How are we training somebody in our cinematic arts program to be repairers of the breach? In our history and political science program? As we think about the liberal arts and ourselves as a liberal arts institution, what does it mean for our curriculum and our co-curricular activity to be raising up people here at APU, at our regional campuses, where they will be engaged as community leaders and as Christ followers, where they run towards the difficult issues of our day. So as we think about that vision of being repairers of the breach, we also have to change who we are as an institution, how we think about our students. And so one of my things that I want to be committed to, and I want you to join in that commitment as we move throughout this next year, is becoming a student-ready college. And what does that mean? How do we create access for all types of students? For example, we are a minority-serving institution. About 30% of our students are first-generation college students. What ways are we changing the infrastructure, the systems, the curriculum, who we are as an institution so that students feel at home at APU no matter where they are, whether they be online, whether it be at the San Diego Regional Campus or here at Azusa? How do we create access? And one of the ways we're doing that this year is exciting ways of engaging a remote learning experience. So as students walk into this fall in a remote learning environment, they're going to have access to top-notch education. They're going to have faculty that are engaging with them through a learning environment that understands where they're at, but also grows them spiritually, academically, and intellectually. As we look forward to another set of academic identity is our research identity. We have incredible scholars here, and the faculty that represent who we are as an institution are committed to engaging scholarship, both as Christians but also in their respective disciplines. And one of the incredible opportunities that we have is that we are one of the few Christian Research 2 institutions in this country. So as your provost, as we look forward to the next coming years, we are going to raise our level of infrastructure, support, and development for research, both for our faculty and for our students. And the thing that we have been doing for many years that we will continue to do is faith-informed, faith integration in how we engage our students. So we do academic faith integration in the classroom, and many of our partners on campus engage in spiritual formation. And one of the things that I want to see is a greater collaboration, a greater synergy between who we are in academic affairs, in academic faith integration, and what is happening through our student affairs division. And how do we work together as partners so that students have a comprehensive, a holistic experience in their major around elements of faith? Because we serve a big God, and when a student walks into a classroom or when a student experiences a student life programming, they should be understanding that all truth is God's truth, and the issues that they're dealing with class tie directly to the issues that they're experiencing in a discipleship program, in a spiritual formation experience, or at chapel. So I'm really excited about this year. I'm really excited about the opportunities that APU has here both in Southern California and regionally and across the country. I also want to thank the partnership that I've had and that many of you have experienced through our Faculty Senate and through our Staff Council. And so at this time, I'm going to welcome Joy Karavitis, who is the chair of our Staff Council, to discuss and to share with you some of the initiatives that Staff Council is considering for this coming year. God bless you and stay safe.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Joy Karavitis, and it's my honor and privilege to be your Staff Council Chair this year. Your Staff Council is comprised of several representatives from all campuses here at APU that support our staff interests. Speaking of staff, did you know that we have over 900 staff members at APU? Of those 900, 50 of them have over 10 years of experience, and one has 35. That's a lot of longevity. Your Staff Council has been up to a few things this past year. One of them is the launch of a new website. You'll find it at the apu.edu link, under the HR link. So that's Human Resources under the apu.edu link. At this website, you'll find the names of your Staff Council representatives, some of our committees, and you'll find a way that you can get involved with Staff Council. We also launched a new newsletter in the spring. Hopefully you received it. Our goal is to launch 3 new newsletters over the next year to increase the communication and let you know what's going on amongst Staff Council and amongst your APU staff. Speaking of the Staff Council, we also have added a diversity committee headed by Joshua Canada to speak to issues of diversity in the workplace. More important than just what Staff Council is up to is what your APU staff have been doing over the past year or so. I wanted to highlight a few of those items. First, that most of you know that we've shifted to a work-from-home environment this past spring. Your APU staff, and a good many of them, probably most of them, made that shift almost seamlessly and effortlessly without missing a beat in the support that we provide to our students. An example of this is a partnership between Corporate Worship and IMT to deliver student messages each week so our students don't miss out on their spiritual development. I also want to highlight the move of the involvement of all of our enrollment services, our registrar's offices, student life, and our academic programs to move to remote learning and remote teaching for our students. They did this with endless hours and a tireless effort so that our students don't miss out on those learning opportunities that APU is so well known for. Finally, I want to make sure that we mention that staff, APU staff, have been represented on every major committee within the university over this past year. And that includes the strategic planning team of the presidents, the Provost search committee, and also the Return to Campus task force. I believe that this provides a renewed desire to include and hear from all voices across the APU community. We are living in interesting times here, but God is still here at work in APU. I know you know that. Keep your eyes above, and it's my firm belief and my desire that each of you gets to experience the depth of Christ's love for you this next year. Welcome back, and God first. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you our faculty moderator, Dr. Joshua Morris.
Well, hello everyone. While I wish I was addressing you in person today, and classes were starting face-to-face next week, I am thankful that technology allows us to still be together, even though we could be half a world apart. In preparing to serve as your faculty moderator this year, I couldn't help but reflect on last year. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." I know that at least for me, last year made a lasting impact in ways that I could never expected in light of everything that happened. Starting in the fall, I was excited to serve as your faculty moderator-elect and could sense a renewed energy on campus as we welcomed President Ferguson and a renewed hope for great things to come. Faculty governance began the year partnering with the Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Excellence and the Chair's Advisory Council to develop cultural competence training for faculty to help to ensure that all of our students and each other are treated with dignity and respect as we pursue Christ-centered academic excellence together. Each of the councils and committees worked diligently to approve new courses, change courses, ensure GE curriculum aligned across different programs, distribute research funds, develop reports comparing compensation of ours to other institutions, as well as to develop policy on faith integration, faculty evaluation, curriculum management, research, and policies to promote student inclusion, equity, and success. We also developed an in-house instrument to gather feedback on dean performance as a way to gather more targeted data and reduce costs. As we entered the winter and spring, Senate continued to build bridges with the new administration and was able to engage with and provide valuable feedback on the then draft strategic plan. And then, as my dad likes to say, the COVID came. While faculty governance worked diligently during this time to make policy recommendations on pass-fail grading for students, TES score usage, and help to determine faculty award recipients, the most significant accomplishments didn't come from faculty governance. They came from each of you. You were able to move from a face-to-face modality to virtual engagement in the matter of days and continue to deliver excellent academics and spiritual care to students in the midst of a pandemic. This Herculean effort is a testament to the character, commitment, resolve, and resilience of APU faculty. On behalf of Faculty Senate, I want to again thank you for everything that you did in the spring and everything that you continue to do to serve students and colleagues during this unprecedented season. We are blessed and honored to call you colleagues and friends. However, as Margaret Thatcher, the first female and longest-serving Prime Minister of Great Britain in the 20th century, noted, "You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it." So as we again prepare to deliver Christ-centered programs of academic excellence to a world still in the depths of the COVID pandemic this fall, I want to thank you for your flexibility, your grace, and your perseverance. I also want to remind you that faculty governance is here to serve you. As you hopefully saw, Faculty Senate is working hard to provide new tools for engagement in a virtual environment through the 2020-2021 Senate platform and the feedback form. We hope that these tools will help for each of you to engage with faculty governance and will provide you an opportunity to help shape the agenda for the year. We also hope that you'll consider serving on a faculty governance council or committee or on Faculty Senate this year as we look to fill open positions through the upcoming fall election. As I reflect on the perseverance that the APU community has shown and will need to continue to show in the upcoming year, I was reminded this week via text and a social media message from former students on why we persevere. The first reminder came as a text from a former research student who has just completed his medical licensure exams. He was excited that he scored in the 91st and 98th percentile nationally and was getting ready to begin his third-year rotations. This to me was exciting because when he started his career at APU, he really struggled academically. He wanted to be a doctor, he wanted to engage, but didn't know if he could cut it academically. Yet, as APU faculty invested in him through rigorous academics, belief in him when he didn't believe in himself, care and support, he springboarded into medical school and is now closer to realizing his calling to serve as a medical professional in underserved communities. The second reminder came as a social media message from a former student who was celebrating the publication of his 20th peer-reviewed journal article in the field of chemistry. Now a postdoctoral researcher at Cal Berkeley, he once saw education as a means to get a job and support his family. However, as he tracked through APU, he gained a love for learning while studying chemistry and theology. And with that, he realized his calling to serve the world through chemical research. He once commented to me that if it was not for the care and commitment of APU faculty to Christ-centered academic excellence, He probably would not have graduated college, considering the stressors he was facing at home and the challenges of being a first-generation Latino student. So as we enter the 2020-2021 academic year, I again want to thank you for everything you do to deliver academic excellence and spiritual care to students in the midst of a pandemic. I look forward to serving you as your faculty moderator and alongside all of you as a colleague and a friend. I am praying for each of you and your families as we journey together and look forward to interacting with you virtually over the next semester. And now I'd like to welcome Dr. Ferguson back to the stage.
Thank you so much, Josh and Joy and Rukshan. Thank you for sharing how God has truly blessed us this year and how we look forward to even more blessing in the months ahead. I want to share with you how much I'm looking forward to the middle of September as well, when we'll be launching the strategic plan of Azusa Pacific University. As you well recall, this whole last year has been a real focus on how do we bring the APU community to assess, review, and look to the future of how APU can become the premier Christian university for our culture and times. As you all recall, before COVID-19 hit, we were ready to launch the plan and engage us in a 7-year strategy. Since that, we've continued to revise it, if you will, stress test it with how the COVID-19 may have impacted us, how our social justice issues may have impacted us. And so much conversation has continued on since March and April. And so I'm looking forward to Andrew Barton, our Vice President for Strategic Planning and Mission Integration, to lead us in that launch in mid-September. So I look forward to sharing that in the days ahead, so please look forward to that. I'm still excited about the launch as I was before. I want to close our time together this morning with hopefully a couple of words of spiritual encouragement. If you're like me, the last 6 to 7 months have been extremely challenging. I am sure that you have had those ups and downs, the moments of uncertainty, the moments of challenge, maybe the moments of depression or the moments of enthusiasm. As I've shared with you in some of my earlier communications, as you well know, I've been enjoying a study in the Old Testament, studying Moses and David and Joseph and Daniel. I really have been wanting to study how God has led in times of uncertainty and challenge and fear and unknown. If you're like me, you've never experienced a time like this in your professional life, particularly the combination of emotion and uncertainty and challenge. And so I've really enjoyed this study, and I look forward to sharing some more specifics about my study of Moses in the October chapel coming up. But what I really wanted to share is that in the midst of all of that, as we study God's examples, we truly do see how in the midst of all of this, how the real heroes of the faith experienced the same emotions, the same uncertainties that we have. And God's promises are clear and definitive that be still, know that I am God, and you shall see the salvation of the Lord. In October, I'll be sharing with you more about that journey that Moses had that has been such a blessing to me. But the other parallel study that I've really been enjoying these last few months is the study of Paul in the book of Acts. And I was interested in the same concept of how did Paul lead the new church in the midst of uncertainty, challenge, and real stress. And I was really blessed to see if just the juxtaposition of how Paul faced challenge and blessing. If you survey the book of Acts, which many of you have done, I know, I think if you did it recently in the context of what we've experienced with the COVID-19 pandemic, you would be surprised how juxtaposed is the blessings of Christ adding to the church, people coming to know him as Savior, and the very next moment, Paul is in prison. Or another exciting evangelistic moment, and Paul is being harmed and beaten. The juxtaposition of challenge and blessing is what I really believe APU has been called to be in the midst of this year. That juxtaposition of blessing and challenge. And I want to just share with you one of my favorite passages from Philippians 4. Philippians 4:11 is the take-home verse I want to share in our faculty and staff kickoff, because it really does encourage us, because if we all have struggled through this time, we know for sure that God is there for us. And I want to just read 4:11 to you and remind you of the joy and the confidence that we have in him. Remember, Paul is telling the Philippians this, knowing that he has suffered and been blessed, challenged and been blessed, stretched and been blessed. The life of the Christian in times of uncertainty and challenge. As Paul said, "For I have learned in whatever state I am to be content," or in the Greek, fully satisfied. Fully satisfied. I know how to be abased. I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things, I had learned both to be full, to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things. I can do all things, that is, to be strong, through Christ who strengthens me. Literally in the Greek, to put power in me. Paul experienced the same roller coaster in life that we did, probably more intensely, right? But the promise to us is Christ putting the power in us to be content and satisfied, whether we abound or abased, whether we're uncertain or struggling. And we know that we have those kinds of challenges ahead of us. We have financial challenges. We have health challenges with some of us. But let's leave this moment today confident that God is in our life, working through us with the power of the Holy Spirit to keep us content with great confidence. So I guess I want to leave that thought with you. There's lots I want to share with you over this year about the challenge of leading in uncertain times. But I just want to say welcome back, my good friends and colleagues. Let's do this year for God's glory. I really believe he's called us for this time and place. If you watch the national landscape in higher education and Christian higher education, you cannot walk away without seeing how God has blessed APU thus far in our decision-making, in our moving ahead. Even though we have tough decisions to make, we are still honoring God first and foremost. God first. Let's do this for God's glory. Thanks to each and one of you. I appreciate each of you. I love each and every one of you.
Go and share his light with the world that desperately needs it. Be the light.